Hi guys, it's Paige with Paws, Claws, Hooves, and Fins, and today I wanted to talk about bettas and how to care for them. So these are three of my guys here. I have Chief, Glacier, and John Wayne. So today I'm going to tell you all about the basic things that you need to know if you want to get a betta fish. So first things first, they all can come in different shapes and sizes and colors. Some of the colors that I really like are the koi because they have a lot of spots, a lot of color, a lot of different looking fish. And then I also like the different kinds of tail shapes, which can be like half moon, veil tail. They come in all kinds of colors from anywhere to yellow, red, blue, white. I mean, so many colors. There's one for everyone basically. So just want to go over what these guys are. Chief is a half moon koi, and he's brown and white and has a little bit of blue on him. And Glacier is a double tail, black and blue. And John Wayne, his name is John Wayne because he's red, white, and blue. He's got really big full fins. So some of the more common colors that you'll find are blue and red, and then the most common tail shape is the veil tail. So now I'm going to go over what the basic care that these guys need is. First, you want to start off with at least 2-gallon tank to be safe. These guys are both in 2 gallons. This one I think is 1.5. I wouldn't really go much smaller than that just because it's not really fair to them. This is their home. This is where they stay all the time. There's rumors going around that they can stay in little cups or vases, and they can, but it's not really fair to them. They won't really enjoy their life very much. They won't get to swim around like they want to. I mean, you can see these guys swimming around because they have the space and they enjoy that. I'm going to end all rumors here. They cannot live in cups. These are the different cup sizes that they come in depending on what kind of store you get them from. They cannot stay in these cups for their entire lives. This is not fair to them. They will basically be living in their waste no matter how often you clean their tank. It still doesn't matter. It's not enough space. Not fair to them. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. So, 2-gallon tank to be safe. I wouldn't go too much smaller than that. So, secondly is the water. If you are on a well, like I am, you don't really have to put conditioner in the water, but I would to be careful and be safe about it, especially when you first bring it home, just so you know that everything in the water is clean and not dangerous. If you're on a city water, definitely use conditioner. If you want, it gets a little expensive, but if you would like, you can buy water, just like bottled water for them. You don't want distilled water. You want spring water. That's going to be what is good for them because of the way that the distilled is processed. There's things in there that can be harmful to them. The third thing is decorations. So you can see in these guys, they have decorations in their tank. John Wayne does not. He's got the background, and I don't want to take away from the background in his tank, but you want to be really careful when you get decorations for bettas because their fins are very fragile, and if they have plants or rocks or whatever you put in there that is too sharp, when they swim by it they can cut their fins, which can end up actually killing them because if it gets too close to the body they can get fin rot, they get sick, may eventually even die from it. So be really careful when you get things. Just if you're in the store, just run your hands over it, feel if it's sharp. If it's not sharp, it's probably okay if it's made to be in a tank. Feeding them, it's really not complicated. You get little betta pellets, and it's betta food specifically for them. I give 4 pellets a day to my guys, and then you can also give them treats, and those would be bloodworms. I normally just give 1 bloodworm a day if I give treat, just so that they don't get too overweight. You don't want to overfeed them. It's not healthy, just like any other animal. Heaters. I know a lot of people want heaters in their betta tanks. I'm just going to say that I have had bettas for a long time, and I've never put heaters in their tanks except for when I tried to breed them. They don't really need a heater if your room temperature in your house stays warm enough. If you're gonna keep your house at like 60 degrees, or I mean that's really cold, but if you're gonna keep it, I want to say lower than 67 degrees, you probably want to get a heater because the water is going to acclimate to the air temperature and it will get too cold for them. They're really hardy fish. It takes a lot to hurt them. If you keep your room temperature warm enough, you don't need a heater. Okay, so last thing about care is the maintenance of the tank. So these tanks are a lot easier to take care of because obviously they're smaller than some of like the bigger fish tanks that you have for like your community tanks. So basically what I do is I scoop them up in the cup that they came in and set them aside, and then I pick up the tank, empty most of it, slosh all the rocks around and clean it up, and then dump that out, fill it with new water, and then I try to get the water the same temperature that it was before, and then I stick them in their cup back in the water like this to let the water in the cup become the same temperature as the water in the tank. You don't want to let them go if the water temperatures are not the same because it will shock them. It can be very harmful to them. So that's pretty much it for the basic care of them. But then there's also the topic of tank mates. Bettas are aggressive fish. They're called fighting fish for a reason. You can absolutely not put two males together. They will fight, and they will fight until one of them has died or even both of them have died. So it's not safe to keep two males together. A male and a female, you really should not keep them together unless you are breeding them. And even then, it's very risky. You have to watch them 24/7 when you're breeding them and make sure that they are not hurting each other because they are so aggressive. But there are people that have had success of other things living in the tanks with them. I have a tank that is 10 gallons and it's one betta is in it, and I have 2 African dwarf frogs with him. I don't have him out here because he's too heavy to move, but they have been together for a long time and they work great together. The dwarf frogs actually don't like super deep tanks because it's hard for them to come up to the surface and get their air. And my betta that's with them is very old and docile, so they get along great. Second thing that is okay are snails. Snails are going to typically be on the bottom or the glass. They're not going to get in the betta's way. Betta probably won't even notice them, and if he does, can't really hurt them too much. And it would keep your tank a little cleaner. There's also some people that do community tanks with like minnows and danios and those kind of fish with the betta fish. You really want to be careful with that. My suggestion is making sure that your betta is very docile. Like Glacier here, I know for sure that would not work. He's a lot more energetic than some of my other bettas. The second thing is that I would not go under 10 gallons for that. 10 gallons is the absolute minimum. Even then, that might be too small. You want to have enough space for them to get away from each other if they do decide to become aggressive. You're also going to want to plant your tank heavily. Chief is a good example of that. He's got a lot of plant cover. He can hide in those plants. If you're going to put a betta with other fish, I would definitely recommend to have hiding spaces for those fish to get away if he does decide that that is his territory that day. The last tank mates that bettas can be together with are females. If you have 2 females, you cannot put them together. I would recommend 3 at the minimum, and I would recommend a 10-gallon tank, absolutely minimum, nothing less. Even that is like the bare minimum. Just like with the community tanks, you want to make sure your females are docile. You want to introduce them through glass before you let them go in the tank together. So for example, if you have them all floating in the water together, you want to put their cups next to each other so they can see each other. Make sure there's no aggressions, and then I would say it'd be safe to try it. Try is the word I use because even then it still may or may not work. So if it does not, you want to have a backup plan for where you're going to put your bettas if they do not get along together. So that's pretty much it, guys. Bettas are super easy. They're very cool fish. They don't take up too much space. They're really, really good hardy fish, and they are very fun to have. So if you guys have any questions, let me know, comment. I will do my best to answer them. And I wish you luck with all your bettas.